does leave behind a certain amount of money. It could be 7%, it could be 10%, depends on the country, okay? Let's say 10%. So theoretically, I can actually lend out $5 million. I can only lend out $4.5 million. Okay? You're right, okay? That's law as well. Okay? Actually, okay, let's say I lend out $4.5 million, okay? Now how much money do I have in the bank? Yeah, $500,000, right? Okay, so again, this is what you're taught in economics. This is what makes logical sense, right? The correct answer, what actually happens in real life, is you now have $9.5 million. Okay, that is the correct answer. This makes no sense, right? But it happens in reality. And how do we know? Because over the past 20 years, Chinese banks, like the Bank of China, the Bank of Industry and Commerce, the Agricultural Bank of China, if you Google these banks, what you will see is, these past 20 years, these banks have become the largest in the world. How did that happen? Was it because Chinese people got rich and put all the money in the bank? No, that's not what happened. What happened, guys?
Supported by the government.
Okay, what happened was these banks start to lend money out to corporations, to government, to people, to build skyscrapers, to build roads. In other words, the banks started to create money out of nothing in order to finance China's infrastructure projects. And that's what banks are allowed to do. They're allowed to print money, create money out of nothing. Okay? Does that make sense? Now the question then is, wait a minute here. That's kind of absurd. How did this system come into being? How is it created? Okay, well actually, there's a very easy explanation for where we got the system from. All right, so let me explain the history and the origin of the system. So in the beginning, it was merchants who engaged in finance because merchants needed money in order to facilitate trade. Okay? And some merchants became extremely wealthy. And when they became very wealthy, they started banks in order to support trade and other merchants. Okay, so these banks traded in gold because that was the primary source and supply of money back then. Okay, so what happened is you would come and you would put your money, your gold, in the bank for safekeeping. And the bank would give you a contract, right? A contract is just saying, thank you for giving me your gold. I promise to give back your gold at any time that you want it. And that's what we call a receipt, right? And this would allow for better and easier trade. Because now I can take this contract and I can go to England, okay? Maybe I'm based in Italy. But now I can go to England and say, listen, I need to buy cotton or bananas from you. And the person is like, well, what are you going to give me? I'm going to give you gold, right? So I take the receipt and I give it to you, right? And why do we do this? Because it's a lot easier than giving gold to other people. And so this system would facilitate trade throughout the world. Doesn't make sense. Now, I'm the bank, I have all this gold, and I want to make money with it. So I want to give it to other people. So other merchants will come to me and say, listen, I need gold, can you lend me out gold? Right? But I say to him, yeah, but if I give you out the gold, you have a security issue. It's inconvenient for you. So why don't I give you a receipt, a contract instead? Does that make sense? Because all I need is a contract, all I need is a receipt in order to go and do trade elsewhere, right? So by doing this, what I've done is I've doubled the gold in my bank, right? I've created money out of nothing. So the gold is still 5 million. That hasn't changed, but the receipt is now 5 million plus 5 million. So theoretically, I now have 10 million in the bank. All right? So that's how money and finance works.